Welcome to the Getting Through Today podcast. I'm Brita. Come along with me as I share my story of the ups and downs through chronic illness and depression, all while being a mother of 5. I know healing is possible, and through every phase there is beauty, even if we don't always see it at the time. I know what it feels like to just get through one day at a time. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful warriors. Welcome back to Getting Through Today. I'm your host, Brita, and as always, I'm so grateful you're here. Today we're talking about something that's both deeply personal and universally important: how to set empowering goals for healing and growth. Whether you're navigating chronic illness, mental health challenges, or simply just trying to balance the chaos of life, goals can be a lifeline. In this episode, we'll explore how to create realistic goals, find joy even in challenging moments, and stay motivated when life feels overwhelming. I'll share my own experiences, including a goal I've set that's pushing me in new and exciting ways. And we'll wrap up with practical tips and inspiration to keep you going. So find a comfy spot and let's dive in. Let's start by talking about realistic goals. We've all been there, setting goals that are too big, too vague, or too overwhelming. We imagine this perfect version of ourselves, hitting milestones effortlessly. And when we fall short, it's easy to spiral into guilt or frustration. That's why realistic goals are so important. Realistic doesn't mean small. It means achievable. It means meeting yourself where you are, not where you think you should be. Sometimes it means you're breaking down what feels like a mountain into manageable steps. For example, if you're in the early stages of healing from a chronic illness, a realistic goal might be as simple as stretching for 5 minutes a day. Or maybe it's getting out of bed, taking a shower, and putting on fresh clothes. I've had days where those tasks, the getting out of bed, showering, and changing, were harder than I wanted them to be. They felt monumental. But even on those days, doing something for myself, no matter how small, was a victory. There were times when the best I could do was rest during the day, so I'd have enough energy to get up and sit on the couch when my kids came home. That may sound minimal to some, but for me, it was progress. Recently, I am so excited that I was able to set a much bigger goal: training for a half marathon. Now, it's not my first. I've done 2 before, but this time is very different. I knew I couldn't dive into long runs right away after everything my body has been through. I started small. For months, I walked. Just walking to get my body moving. And honestly, I would laugh at myself when I thought about running a half marathon. I'd think, am I crazy? Is this too big of a goal for someone who's faced so many health challenges? But the thing is, as I walked, my body got stronger. Slowly but surely, I started to feel ready for more. One day recently, I jogged 2 miles, then 4 miles, and that sense of accomplishment, those small wins, kept me motivated to keep going. Every step reminded me of how far I've come. The great thing about this goal is that I'm working toward it in a way that feels right for me. And here's an important point. Even if I pay to run the race, and come race day, if I could only walk a 5K, that's okay. That doesn't mean I failed at my goal. It means I honored my body and what it was capable in that moment. In fact, last week, I didn't jog at all. Life got busy, and I needed more rest. But instead of beating myself up, I gave myself grace. I reminded myself that it's not about being perfect every step of the way. It's about continuing to take steps, no matter how small, to move forward. This week, I'll pick it back up, and that's progress too. It's not always easy. I get frustrated when my week gets chaotic or when my body tells me it needs more rest. But I've learned that when I honor and nurture myself, I'm not just making progress toward my goal, I'm also enjoying the journey. And that's just as important. I'll be honest, if someone had told me a year ago that I'd be jogging 4 miles or training for another half marathon, I wouldn't have believed them. I'm so proud of how far I've come and so grateful for the strength and resilience my body has shown me. Here's a tip. When setting goals, ask yourself, does this feel possible right now? If the answer is no, scale it back. Goals are not about perfection. They're about progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, it's a win. Celebrate that. Next, let's talk about joy. Joy might not be the first thing you think of when life feels overwhelming, but it's so important. Joy doesn't have to mean happiness or bliss. It's not about pretending everything is okay or forcing yourself to feel a certain way. Instead, joy is about finding light in the dark, those moments of connection, laughter, or peace that remind us why we keep going, even when things feel hard. For me, joy often shows up in the little things. It's in the conversations I have with my kids, the moments of silliness that make us laugh, or the simple pleasure of feeling my feet hit the pavement during a run. Running for me is a source of joy, and it's not just about the physical movement, it's about what running represents. I went years without being able to run, longing to experience the freedom and empowerment it gave me. Now, every time I lace up my shoes and head out, it feels like such a gift. It's a reminder of how far I've come and how resilient my body is. But let's be real, finding joy is not always easy. Some days I'm not exactly thrilled to go for a jog or maybe even do anything. And there are times when it feels like a chore or when my body feels tired, and I question why I even set this goal. And I've had many seasons of life where joy felt almost impossible to find. When I was deep in the challenges of chronic illness, joy seemed so far away. I would see other people laughing, living, and thriving, and I'd wonder if I'd ever feel that way again. It was during those moments that I learned an important truth. Sometimes we have to actively search for joy. It doesn't always appear on its own, especially when life feels heavy. For me, it started with the smallest things, like enjoying being snuggled in my warm blankets, or feeling the warmth of the sun on my face, or noticing a kind word from someone I loved. Over time, those tiny sparks of joy added up, and I realized that even in my darkest moments, somehow there was always at least a little light to be found. Joy is also about being present. For example, when I go for a run, I make a conscious effort to stay in the moment. I focus on the rhythm of my breath, the steady sound of my footsteps, and the beauty of the world around me. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast or an audiobook, something that feeds my mind and adds to the joy of moving my body. Or sometimes I call a friend and chat while I reach my goals. Sometimes I listen to music, and sometimes I don't listen to anything. I just sort through my thoughts while I run. And those moments of mindfulness during a run are not just joyful, they're grounding. They help me feel connected and alive, even when life gets overwhelming. Running is a space where I can process my thoughts, release stress, and remind myself of my strength. And even on the days when joy doesn't come easily, I know it's worth searching for, because those small moments of light are what keep me going. So if you're in a place where joy feels hard to find, Start small. Look for one thing, just one that makes you smile, feel connected, or at peace. Maybe it's a hug from someone you love, the way your favorite song lifts your spirits, or even just the quiet comfort of a moment to yourself. Joy doesn't have to be big or bold. Sometimes it's the smallest sparks that light up the darkest days. Now, let's talk about staying motivated. Life gets busy, overwhelming, and downright exhausting sometimes. So, how do you keep going when everything feels like too much? One of the most important things I've learned is the power of your why. I have a sweatshirt that I love that says, "Remember your why." And I love wearing it because it is that reminder of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why did you set this goal? What does it mean to you? For me, like I said, running is more than fitness. It's about reclaiming my strength and celebrating how far I've come in my healing journey. When I remind myself of that, it gives me the push I need to keep training, even on the hard days. Another tip is to break your goal into smaller steps. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, just focus on the next step. If I'm not feeling motivated to run, I tell myself, just put on your running shoes and step outside. And once I've done that, the rest feels easier. I also want to say this. It's okay to rest. Rest is not quitting. Rest is a part of the process. On days when you feel overwhelmed, give yourself permission to step back and recharge. Sometimes the best way to move forward is to pause. Lastly, surround yourself with support. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or even an online community, having people who encourage you make all the difference. My family has been an incredible source of strength for me. My kids, my husband Jeff, my parents, my siblings, and so many of my friends cheer me on, and that support keeps me going. I want to share a little more about my new song that's called Joy in the Darkness. This song was actually inspired by a social media post I read from someone who was navigating the incredibly difficult journey of infant loss. While I have also experienced infant loss, my journey was different in so many ways. Still, her struggles and her words resonated so deeply with me. She shared how before loss and pain, joy had come so easily. It was just there, a natural, almost effortless part of life. But after experiencing such profound grief, everything changed. Joy became something she had to search for, something she had to fight to rediscover. That struck a chord with me because it mirrored my own experience. There have been many times and many experiences I've been through when joy felt so distant, almost like a memory I wasn't sure I'd ever touch again. But as I began to heal, I realized that joy hadn't disappeared. It was simply waiting for me to uncover it, piece by piece, moment by moment. Here's the chorus of that song that I wrote. It says, "I've found joy in the darkness where light creeps, in all the ugly places no one stays, but we all meet. I'm learning how to find it, to somehow carry on, braving all the pain, knowing that joy's not really gone." When I first wrote this song, I worried a little bit about using the word creeps and the word ugly in my song. But that's really how it felt to me. Sometimes it felt like light was just barely creeping in because I was standing in the ugly places that I didn't want to stay in. But I love this chorus because it captures something so raw and real about the human experience. There are so many ugly places we find ourselves in. Places of grief, pain, sorrow, and suffering. These are not places we choose to be, and they're certainly not places we want to stay. But those dark moments often bring us together. They create spaces where we can meet one another in our struggles, where we can say, I see you, I understand you, even if we are going through completely different circumstances. When I think about the ugly places that I have sat in, I'm reminded of the times when I needed to lean on someone else to find joy again. Whether it was a friend who sat with me in silence, even a stranger whose words reached me at just the right time. Those connections were like tiny sparks of light in the darkness. They reminded me that joy wasn't something I was going to lose forever. Joy is patient. It waits for us to uncover it, even in the smallest moments. And when we find it, it gives us the strength to carry on. It's like a lifeline pulling us out of the depths and reminding us there's still beauty, still hope, still light. And the amazing thing about finding joy is that it doesn't just lift us up. It empowers us to help others find it too. I've seen this happen in my own life. There have been moments when I didn't think I had anything left to give, but someone else's light helped me rediscover my own. And now when I find myself in a place of strength, I feel compelled to share that light, to say I've been there. I know it's hard, but I also know there is a way to find your way back to joy. This song is a reminder that joy is not gone, but it can be hidden sometimes. And even when life feels heavy, when it feels like the darkness might swallow you whole, those sparks of joy are still there, waiting to be uncovered. Maybe it's a kind word, a shared moment of laughter, or the strength you see reflected in someone else's eyes. So if you're in one of those ugly places right now, I hope these words remind you that you're not alone. We all meet in those places at some point, and together we can lift each other up. And when you find even the smallest glimpse of joy, hold on to it. Let it remind you that you're brave enough to carry on and strong enough to help someone else do the same. And now that we've reflected on joy and motivation, let's get practical. Here are a few steps that you can take today to set empowering goals for your healing journey. Number 1, be honest with yourself. What do you truly want? What feels achievable right now? Write it down. 2, start small and build. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Start with a goal that feels doable, and then let your confidence and your strength build from there. Number 3, create a routine. Consistency helps build momentum. Find a way to make your goal a regular part of your day, even if it's just 5 minutes. Number 4, celebrate the small wins. Every step forward matters. Take time to acknowledge and celebrate your progress. 5, stay flexible. Life will throw you curveballs. It always seems to. Be willing to adjust your goals without feeling like you failed. 6, reconnect with your why. When motivation fades, remind yourself why you started. Write it down, say it out loud, or visualize what achieving your goal will feel like. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this. Healing and growth are not about grand, sweeping changes overnight. They're about the small, consistent steps we take each day. Some days, those steps might feel like leaps, and other days, they might feel like barely a shuffle forward. But just remember, every single step matters. Every single step is progress. There will be highs and lows, moments when you feel unstoppable, and moments when doubt creeps in. There will be days when joy seems effortless and days when it feels like it's lost in the darkness. But the beauty of this journey is that it's yours. And with each step, you're moving towards something stronger, brighter, and more fulfilling. Set goals that honor where you are today, not where you think you should be, but where you truly are. Be kind to yourself in the process. Be gentle with yourself. Celebrate those little victories, no matter how small they may seem. Because those moments of progress, those sparks of joy, are what will carry you forward. And when you're in those ugly places, those moments of struggle and grief, know that you're not alone. We've all been there. We meet each other in those spaces, and together, we lift each other up. Joy is not something we lose forever. It's there, waiting for us to uncover it. You just have to decide what joy looks like to you. You are stronger and more capable than you realize. You have already overcome so much, and you have everything you need to continue moving forward. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope this episode resonated with you and reminded you of your strength and your resilience. If it did, please share it with someone who might need a little extra encouragement. Let's spread this light together. And don't forget to tune in next week for more tools, inspiration, and support. We're all on this journey together, and I'm so grateful to walk alongside you. Until next time, keep finding joy, keep setting goals, and most importantly, keep moving forward. You are doing amazing, and I'm so proud of you.